Hello, everyone. Welcome to the table. Welcome to the Grown Folks Table.
You muted yourself.
You muted yourself.
Thank you. Oh my God.
This is the kind of night we about to have.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Are y'all ready for some grown folks conversation?
Yes,
okay, good. Okay, good. Because I was just making sure because the devil is busy trying to mute me. But I just wanted us to, we were planning on talking about relationships because we have talked a lot about gray areas. I mean, that's Vicky's favorite word anyway, when we're talking about how it's so much gray areas these days when it comes to relationships. Back in the day, we had certain girlfriend codes, how you would navigate, move, certain things that you would, we've even talked about it at the table before. Who should be allowed to date who, things that what happens when you cross codes. Well, here's the thing, ladies. Everyone is talking about Porsha Williams and Simon. I mean, we just got to unpack it tonight. It's just so unfair. And so the first thing I put on my timeline is, where they do that at? I'm so confused. Libby, go ahead and drop the tea because I know you can't wait to drop the tea.
Well, since I am the tea dropper, let me just go ahead and give it. So, Porsha Williams, you know, she on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, for those who don't know. And let me just say this. You don't have to watch the show to know what is happening now because it has been on every news outlet and all over social media. When something hits CNN, it is important.
Right.
And so it was on CNN. She, Real Housewife of Atlanta, she was recently engaged to another gentleman, Dennis, and that engagement was broken off in October of 2020. While on the show, there was this young lady who also joined the show, and this young lady joined the show, and she was married to Mr. Simon. Well, they recently divorced. Or going through divorce is what some people are saying. So allegedly, their divorce is not final quite yet, or it got finalized at the end of April. That's still tea. That's still out to be checked. So my fact checker, put it in the comments. But according to Porsha is saying that this started in January. Well, anyway, she is now engaged to Mr. Simon, who is recently divorced from the other young lady. So they kikied all on the show. They took pictures together. They were in swimming pools together, and they were having some acquaintances, something similar to friends, but Porsha says they're not friends, but they were having some acquaintances. They were on the same show, and it was very well known that this was this young lady's husband. Well, this young lady's husband is now Porsha's fiance, and apparently it's okay with Mr. Dennis, who she has a baby by, and they took pictures and all posted on her Instagram that everybody's one big happy family. And Mr. Simon got a lot of money. Joyce, he got some money, right, Joyce?
You unmute, Joyce.
Let me unmute you, Joyce.
She's secure in the bag. He got a lot of coins.
How much is he worth, Joyce? How much?
Well, according to sources that I've read, he's worth about 40 million.
That's 40.
Huh?
40.
40. Million.
40 million in the chat, baby. 40 million.
40 million. Now, how much was Dennis worth?
Listen, don't you do that. Don't do
Okay,
that.
okay, I'm
I
sorry.
want a hot dog truck.
He was worth a few hot dogs. Come on, Frank. Hot dogs. If y'all don't know, he owned a hot dog business. And let me just say this about Mr. Simon. He has a new restaurant that's called Dad's DAS Barbecue that's in the Grant Park area. And I remember seeing it getting built. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I see, this is like a black owned business. I'm like, I got to support it. My mother and I rolled past like, oh, we got to go. Nice establishment. It's now open. I was talking about how I was going to sit and visit. And then I said, oh, Lord, this is the man establishment. I said, well, hey, he ain't got nothing to do with me eating that.
Hello, and I bet the lines will be long. Okay,
I bet they're gonna be good and long. So,
but here's my confusion. Okay, I hear all the proper language. We were associates, we not friends. But here's my thing: if I invite you to my house, because she invited her and to her house, in which she went to a pool party. So if I invite you to my house, then what's that all about? You ladies tell me, Dolores. I'm just saying, if you invited people over to your home to, have tea, sit on the back patio, what have you, is that giving them the green light to when your marriage starts having problems or for them to go after your man?
No, but you know what? I have seen some things in people over the years, so I think anything goes. But I'm a fan of the Housewives. I think I just like all the trashy shows. We need something to take our minds off the everyday. So I have followed Housewives since the beginning, and I remember when Porsha came on in 2005. I think it was the 5th season when she was married to Cordell, and I just see her as this woman. Now, at that particular time, she was kind of more like in a controlling relationship. He this NFL player. He wanted this trophy wife. I saw she was a different type of person. And then I began to see her evolve over the seasons. So then it becomes where she always was just seeking a man to have a baby by. That went on for a while. And I know with these housewives, they got to have this storyline. So I'm not quite sure if there's something for the next season storyline. Will it really play out? Will they really get married? But in 30 days, I think so. For 40 million, y'all gonna tie the knot for the 40 million.
I'm going to get some water.
It's gonna be a premium.
Back to your question, the green light.
It's gonna be a premium.
No, I'm like this. If I know you dated somebody and somebody dated, I'm just not doing it. That's just the way I am, and I trust that I have friends that way that. I'm not sure they might have eyeball mine on the side. I don't have a problem with you looking because I want people to look at my man because I know he's something to look at. I don't have a problem with that. But sitting on my patio and coming to my party and being a friend, because I watched those episodes. I remember the young lady very well, even when they went to South Carolina. She and he came later. They stayed at a different villa. But I was really surprised when I saw that, and just so much. I think Porsha, she puts it out there. I think she likes to put it out there before you start talking about it. Mm-hmm. But she has done some things, and that one was a little different. I couldn't believe that happened, but hey, do your thing, Porsha. 40 million, go on, girl.
Well, let me tell you this, just so y'all know, I'm just gonna go ahead and lay it out there. I run with a knife carrier, okay, and she's not saying much right now, but I just want to know, Vicky, if one of your friends, acquaintances, associates that you invite over to have a cup of tea. Later comes for your man. I'm just saying, are you sharpening your knife, dear? Are you sharpening your knife?
You need to stop it. You really do. I've given my life to Christ.
What the hell of your life?
I've been redeemed. Every so often that thing try to come back. But you don't have to use that knife like I used to.
Okay.
And I don't have to threaten. He has really helped me. But when I heard about this story, I felt something boiling inside of me. And I forgot that I, gave my life. I forgot that I've been living right. I've been living
It's a mess. That's all it is.
But it's a test. It's a test. But let me just say, I don't, I'm like Dolores. I really do. I told my husband this. We laughed about it for some years. I said, look, I wouldn't want nobody that nobody else wanted. Please. I want to, I don't mind nobody looking. I don't mind no looking. But I'm looking too. I'm looking and I'm checking out any side eyes coming my way. So, my husband looking really good right now, Dolores. He told me this morning he lost 36 pounds.
Ooh.
And that's a good looking man, mature. You know what I'm saying? Libby got that mature beard and everything. Just as cute as he could be.
Come on there. Come on. Talk about it. Talk about it, honey.
I'll take it down. I've invested too much. I take it down. So I don't do a lot of tea drinking. I don't like to have women over my house. I don't want that thing to come up out of me. I invite you over for a little prayer meeting or something. And my husband,
they look at him during the prayer meeting. You better stop it.
Listen.
You gotta watch that motherboard.
Let me the ones, honey.
Hello.
But the interesting thing is that the ex-wife took the high road. She's saying, I am concentrating on my healing and I'm concentrating on, her life and all that. And I said to myself, bless the Lord.
Yeah, hello. What else did she do?
Huh?
What
Yeah,
else did she
right.
do?
Yeah. So I just said, bless her. I said, Lord, you're kind.
Yeah.
One thing I know about you.
some of that money? Did she get half of that money?
Right.
See, I don't know. Now, he has 5 children. He has 5 children.
Right.
Listen, he has 5 children. And I don't know if all 5 are his, if any one of those belong to her. And I believe that this man will probably have a prenup with anybody. And she probably had a prenup too, because they were only married about 2 years.
Right.
So I'm sure that there was probably a prenup. But let me tell you something, children of God. I'm a proponent of being with a man that is financially secure. I am it.
Mm-hmm.
I am the is me. That is something that is a requirement of mine. That's it. People may have a thing about that. Don't care. That's a requirement. I'm for that.
Libby,
But
he can't be broke and busted.
no,
And even though he loves you.
hell no.
What if he got a little potential?
He could have broke his ankle. You see what I'm saying? Broke his ankle. Then we can get you through orthopedic. We can get you some help. But what you're not gonna be, you're not gonna have a dry bank account. That's gonna be a hell no. Now,
Hell to the.
But I was confused because I was like, I haven't been a fan of the Atlanta Housewives. I haven't followed them, but I had seen this Porsha girl before. At some point, when she was getting ready to have her baby, she was pregnant and having a baby shower. So I kind of was passing the show with the remote. But I said, let me look and see where she's from, because where they do that at? Look, I can tell you right now, she must be from Chicago or Detroit or something, because them Detroit women, they'll try some stuff like that. And I Googled her, and guess where she's from, y'all?
Chicago.
we know.
She's from here. She's from the A.
Yes.
I'm disappointed.
Her grandfather is
But then
Jose.
I said, they didn't teach her right. I said, I bet she's from East Atlanta. Let me look up and find out where she went to school. God, guess where she went to school?
My school.
I went to Cal.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And her grandfather, like Joy said, is Hosea Williams.
Lord have mercy.
So, I mean,
she wasn't a good student in school. Now you know that.
Well, we know she didn't know about she didn't understand about the Underground Railroad because she kept asking about where the railroad was.
No, she didn't get trained right.
But she is doing some great social justice work. I'll give her credit for the work that she is doing.
She's doing some work now to clean up her image, but she focused more on the outward man, you know, the buttocks and the boobies. Those are her focus. And so she wasn't paying attention to social studies. And she wasn't paying attention to history. She wasn't paying attention.
She wasn't paying attention.
She missed it.
But she got to keep up her lifestyle.
Come on.
I mean, becoming popular on Real Housewives, and I'm with you, Pastor E. I haven't watched it since the first season, but being on there have elevated her lifestyle.
Yeah.
And not only does she do Real Housewives, but she does Dish Nation and a whole lot of other things. And then I was reading that Bravo is going to give her a show to depict her life and what she's, what she's been doing and all the things that have been happening to her. So, you live a certain way. She got to be a little like Libby. I got to find somebody that ain't broke, because of the lifestyle. But she represents so many women like that. I mean, that's just the way of the world. Ask Megan Thee Stallion. That's what she sings.
And it's one of the. Somebody commented, they said, this seemed to be a normal lot with celebrities, and it is. Yeah. We know that Martin Lawrence, ex-wife, is with I think married to what's the football player from Dallas, Emmitt Smith. So so that happens quite a bit. I think what makes this kind of shady, for lack of a better word for folk, is that the company, like she would have never met him had the girl not been on the show. And so that connection is what connected them. So she says they were not friends. So he was free game. That's what she's saying. But my thing is, it's just tough for me because personally, I can't say what I would do, but I will hope in Jesus' name. That's all I can give you right now. My hope is built on nothing else but Jesus' blood and his righteousness. I would hope that I would refrain from being with someone I know, ex-husband. But if I got caught up in that world and lifestyle, I can't say that. Once you get in that world and lifestyle, you really can't say that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they do. That's what they do. Look at what's her name, J-Lo. J-Lo went back to Ben. What is it? Ben. Yeah. I mean, she just what J-Lo. She's not gonna drop below that.
Somebody to answer a question. I need y'all to answer a question for me. So she went from the hot dog man to the barbecue man. Is that it, Libby? She was with the hot dog man.
That's just one of his business. No, he's a CEO of a company. That's just one of his business. She went from the hot dog man to the CEO man.
Okay, but now her taste buds could have changed, Libby, because from hot dogs to barbecue, there's a difference.
She needed some spice.
Let me say this. I used to watch the show Dolores. I really do, and I called it, my indulgence. My empty TV. That's what I call that. Empty TV. Just don't give me nothing but entertainment. And I did it for a while when Nene was on. I did it for several years, and then it started going so far left for me. I just couldn't do it. I haven't watched it in several years. I couldn't do it. It was like, man, for a storyline and to increase their pocket, the banking them coins in them pockets, I just couldn't do it. It's just crazy. And so,
well, let me just
go ahead, Pastor.
Go ahead.
I just want to put a disclaimer out there. Just in case anybody's wondering, I just want to make it real clear. Ain't no gray areas. No, it's just black and white.
That's right.
Shall the cashier show up or invite you over?
Bless it.
As soon as you cross the threshold,
Say, come on,
Yeah,
we consider you good company.
yeah.
And shall you renege on any of my good company offerings
Well,
and come after my man? I shall lay all holy hands.
But her problem was she shouldn't allow Porsha to come over with that thong on. That was the problem.
Hello.
Around her man.
Hello.
I mean, you all know her shape. Then she does have a body, and she fixed it up very well.
And she's a little freaky somebody.
Girl, when they was at the pool party at her house with the thongs on.
I would have came down with a global
pool with the thongs on.
Put this t-shirt
right.
on.
Dolores, you're right. Yeah, Dolores, I forgot about that, but you're absolutely right. And here's the other thing. Porsha is a little freaky little something, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, y'all ain't been watching the episode, but it has gotten real. Hey, listen, children of God.
Ask Kenya Moore.
I thought Candy was the freaky one.
Oh, they was at Candy's basement, baby, party. And all things were, everything can go on that could go on, went on.
Oh my God.
So what I'm saying to you is Dolores is right on it. You know who you had around you. You know who was there. And here's the other thing I want to put out. You know your man.
Yeah.
Because he ain't no innocent bystander, because he's all on social media talking about how he has found the love of his life and how he know it happened fast, but she is. Now, if I was the ex, let me help you. I done gave you 2 years of my good life. Let me tell you something, Ninja. You go understand something right here. You ain't gonna get on here and say Nathan about this, the love of your life. Now you can find love, but you better be careful about this the best thing. I gave you 2 years. Don't do that to me. Then that part I did not. I was like, how that? But honey, he on private jets and all kinds of things. I said, Lord have mercy, Porsha.
But we're gonna see how this lasts, because he's the kind of person think he's a savior to the women.
Yes.
And Porsha's the type of woman she's just seeking. She doesn't even really know what she wants, what she needs. She doesn't even really know about love and relationships. She's just about right now fame, her independence. I don't think it's so much marriage, but she see this good catch now. Y'all want to do this with him. But Dennis is just to have the baby. But I don't see this lasting. I think it's for the story. Her stepping stone.
I think you're right.
Where she's trying to go.
Yep, I think you're right. I think it's for the story. Here's the thing: if Dennis was going to exit, because Dennis and her were over in October, she needed a story. Yeah. You are not going to be able to hold that peach, and you don't have a story.
And at 1.3 million,
and then develop her own.
Come on,
that's the thing. I mean, think about it. The show stayed on and stays on because of the mess. If it was decent and in order, I mean, think about some of the other shows, and even some of the other, people that have been on it, because they were decent and in order. They are gone. A lot.
Kim Fields.
When I used to watch it, her last name was Snow. She was the wife of one of the basketball players.
Absolutely.
That's when I used to watch it. Now all those type women gone.
That's
they don't create anything wanting to watch.
They want ratchetness.
They want
ratchetness. They want ratchetness.
But honey, you know what? I'm gonna just tell you.
Porsha don't care.
She does not care.
She does not care. She hasn't cared.
I'm breaking in. I went from 500,000 to 1.3 million. You better ask somebody. That is what she's saying. She said to F you all.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yes.
About her relationship. So she's not. She's just running all the way to the bank.
She's a trashy girl anyway. I hate that. I hate even wasting time on that foolishness. I like
You should have seen the Bolo episode then, baby. You missed it.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Olivia, you got to talk about Bolo. You got to tell them about the episode.
Listen, they had a gentleman. Come on, God, help me, Holy Ghost.
Help you,
Oh my God.
They had a gentleman on there for Candy's basement, whatever it was. And
it was a bridal shower for Cynthia.
Yes. Basement shindig. And they had Bolo there as a exotic dancer. Let me use some proper terms on that.
Yes.
And Bolo is good on the eyes. And he's blessed by God. And the Lord has favored him so in many places. The Lord has favored him. And so he brought his favor to this bachelorette thing. He brought his favor there to share all of his favor with everybody that was there. It was just a big old favor party.
Now I would have liked
that big old favor party.
Yes, you gotta catch the episode, girl.
I would have liked being at the party.
Well, here's my question.
But no, wait, I gotta finish this now.
Okay.
And at the favor party, everybody was so into the favor that people wanted favor. And one of these people that were wanting this big old favor, honey, was Porsha, who was like, "Where is Bolo? Where he at?" And the cameras had to go off, honey.
Oh my God.
Because it was just stuff. But remember, she found love though.
She found the bank. That's what she found.
That's what she found.
And she found a story for her. Yep, she trying to move her money, honey.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, ladies that are watching. Drop in the chat. Let me know. Are people now getting married for love or only for security? So
Miss Butler says she was one of
Bolo's teachers back in the day. Oh my God.
Have mercy.
Yes.
She knew what he was going to turn into.
Right.
I got a question for Libby. So, I'm just trying. I like to help people. My sister's out, looking for somebody. I like to help. I'm a kind of like a matchmaker. So, if Bolo makes his money, spreading favor, he gets money for that, right? Would he qualify for you?
Qualify for what position?
I cannot.
We got to identify what kind of favor I need.
Maybe you are terrible. You're terrible.
But you know what? To answer your question, I think people nowadays are marrying for security because they don't really understand the value of what love is.
Yeah.
And when you find someone that has potential and has the right head on his or her shoulder and do have some way of living a pretty good and decent life, then that's some of the first things that you see. Well, love will come along, but I just need him to be straight. I need her to be straight. So I think nowadays, as I say, a lot of times people are looking for some security.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something. My husband and I have done quite a bit of marriage counseling over the years. And I was told something by more than one person, and I asked people who can render an opinion. But I was told, my aunt was the first one told me, and she was in her second marriage. And she said to me, the first marriage is for love, and it's the warm fuzzy. She said, but if it doesn't work and you end up married second, third time, what's love got to do with it? They want to know what you bring to the table. How can you stabilize their lives? What value can you bring? So it's not as much. It doesn't mean you don't love, but you are not putting all your investment in the emotion of love. You want some security. And so I've been on a quest. I'm serious ever since I heard it, to ask people when I have a rapport in a relationship who are married several times, was it love or security? And every time they've said, that's true. It's for security that second time or that third time. That it's doesn't mean you don't love them. So I think what Joyce is saying, and then I think there's something else here, Joyce. It looks like women or men are putting off marriage, right? Later in life than when I came up, it was you went to school to look for that love, right? To find that suitable person to marry. But now it's about careers. I want to do a career thing, and so I'm encountering women, more and more women that are putting marriage off or significant relationships off because they want to invest in themselves. So it's several things going on with relationships, if you will.
I mean, it's not necessarily putting it off. Is having a different value. Yeah. I mean, if I already got, my home and my car and all of these things that I've worked so hard for, and you're coming with nothing, then that there goes a lack of interest right there. And usually when a woman has all of that, then now we getting ready to deal with a whole lot of intimidation. Yes. And a whole lot of argument and a whole lot of,
you do this.
Hello. So I think that's what has caused a lot of the problems. If I think about my grandmother was a stay-at-home. So my grandfather went out and worked and took care of the home. Well, my grandmother put my mother through college. And my mother got an education and lived differently than she did. Well, my mother now put 6 kids through college, and we live differently than she did. And so you're saying, either you come on with it, or I'm gonna keep on going, as I am. So I think that's what has been a major problem, is we are just securing our own bags. And if you can't come and, fill it up more, then deuces.
And I think too, people have different outlook on what marriage is. And I think, we got this comment here. It says, finance is French, fiance is French for finance. Marriage is a business merger. You don't need marriage to love someone, but you do need it for financial security. Marriage legalized the business part of the relationship, healthcare, shared finance, property. That really is a true statement. Whether you see it that way, that is a very true statement. And so people look at marriage and relationships from different perspectives. Look at Oprah. Oprah decided marriage wasn't for her. She was going to do her own thing. And I think we are looking at a time where women are freer than they ever been. That it's not about the end road is to have a husband, the white picket fence, the house, and children. I for one, I tell this story all the time. It was never something I thought about. I wasn't that young girl or teenager or college student that was thinking about, I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to have children. It was not there. When I listed stuff in my journal of the top things that I wanted to accomplish, it was not there. That was how I moved. I thought about finances. I thought about business. I thought about work. I thought about career. I thought about school. And I just didn't think about those things. Now, I had people that called me selfish. People that said I was selfish for that. You need to get married. You have to have kids. And I would say the same thing to them. Why do I have to do it? You're doing it. You've already done it. So it don't take all of us to do it. Some of us don't have to do it. We can balance the pot. And so I think people are thinking like that. So here again, Porsha, person that was in her first marriage, she was completely submissive. She was doing it the quote unquote Bible way. She was very subdued. She wasn't free in doing anything. She did whatever he asked her to do. He was very controlling. She barely raised her voice. She never questioned him on anything. But when she got free, she got free indeed. And I think at this point, some people say, I'm never going back to that. And that may snowball into something else, sure. But I think that's the concept of, and we see that even when people who've been married 25, 30 years and come out the marriage and they're driving, they're getting jobs, you know, and they're going back to school and getting master's degree or getting bachelor's degree. They're getting free in a way that, you know, women were not able to do that. And even their sexuality, they're getting free even in that. They're not going by labels, they're not dealing with that. So relationships look very, very different now. And I always say, you know, to a lot of my friends, I say, oh, finally it's caught up with me. Because I've been there, you know, in a world where everybody, you know, as soon as we left college, everybody was getting married. I was in 13 weddings as a bridesmaid. 13 weddings. I can't tell you how many bridal showers I threw. I can't tell you how many people wanted me to be their godmother to their child, to where I had to say, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not going to be in another wedding. You know, and that's just how, because everybody was doing it, married. Oh, well, now I'm married. Everybody's asking, when are you having children? 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 Now I got to go have children. To where people feel like they're not even, ladies feel like they're not even women if they don't have a husband, any kind of husband.
What about this though? Let me just throw it out there. I love love stories. I love couples who've been married for 20, 30, 40 years. And I love when they've been married for so long, and that's the person one person they've been with for the rest of their life, and they can finish each other's sentences, and they travel with one another. And, you know, I love love. I just love love. And I love marriage. I love what the covenant, I love the fact that, you know, I'm not talking to my husband right now. He getting on my last nerves, but, you know, but by Friday, tomorrow, we gonna make up. You know what I mean? Yeah. See, I love all of that. That comes with, you know, with marriage. And I'm 17 years in, baby. I'm not no newlywed. I'm 17 years in, and I'm pretty sure there's some others on here that's been married much longer. So to me, at the beginning of my journey, it was my list. You know, I had a whole list of what he had to have, and it was no gold teeth was at the top of it. You know, that was that was my number one. You can't be grilled out, boo. You know, because I'm from Decatur. That's all I kept riding. I was like, no grills for number one. But I mean, the list, you know, the list of what some of the things and the qualities he had to have. And there certainly is not at the place where Porsha list was, you know. But I love the idea of building something with Tony Cash. You know, I love the fact that the stories that I hear when two persons got together and they had absolutely nothing. And hey, a fire could take it all out. But guess what? At the end of the day, I will start all over again with Tony Cash. I love that. And I think we've gotten so far away from what that looks like, not because I feel like women so want to be independent and they don't want to pick up another man's last name or what that all takes to put the work that it takes to put in marriage. Oh, it's for real, baby, but it's so worth it. It is,
but it's not for everybody.
I didn't say it was for everybody.
Yeah. And I think people who do it, and especially how you're expressing it, and I believe that you have been that kind of person that had, you know, you may have been a little girl that looked at people who were married and it gave you warm fuzzies. You know, there are people who've been looking at marriage. For people to list that's something that they have aspired to do, and that's something that they set out to do. Whereas with me, I would look at women who own their own business that could travel. That was it for me. You know,
I see a couple of the comments, and no, marriage is not just about a written contract. You know, it's about a covenant relationship. You know, and because I am a believer and I'm a spiritual,
which is actually a covenant. Actually, is Contractual. It is agreement.
But it's a different type. Come on, Vicky. It's a different type of contractual agreement. It's one that involves God. It's just not the one that involves the courthouse. And so I think that is a whole deeper level of stand up. When I come to a person and say I do, what is it that I'm saying? Not till you lose your job, not till you get sick, not till, okay, I no longer find you attractive, not till Porsha shows up to the party in a thong, or what does she have on G-string? Okay, right? None of those things. Not it surpasses all of that. And I think that a lot of times, because we don't tell a lot of those stories, and a lot of those stories are not getting told or shared. What gets pushed to the front is the trashy ones. That it creates this idealism that, okay, you don't have to get married, or I haven't been good at maintaining or establishing long-lasting relationships that have led to this marriage story, that I can bury that thought process of being married and be like, okay, well, I can have a Porsha life, you know? So I still think it's some things that women could aspire to have, love to want to embrace, and think about to have it. Like, you know, I believe Libby will make a wonderful wife, you know. And
I'm happy in Jesus'
name. As soon as I find her mate,
I'm beautiful and happy in Jesus' name.
I already have a recommendation. I got a list of
listen. Quit trying to be. Now you're acting like everybody else trying to marry y'all.
I am marrying live off.
Yeah, listen. Well, hey, Vicky, I know you want to jump in. Go ahead. I think Vicky froze on us, but there's one comment in here that said, okay, Vicky, you froze on it. Go ahead. We can hear you now.
When you do marry, it is a covenant and it can be considered a contract. But let me say this, and I'm going to get a little spiritual on with you. When you come to know Christ, it's you read some scriptures. He said the letter of the law, reading the scriptures and trying to do that from just a contractual place, it kills. But until we embody the essence of God's word and make it a part of who we are, where we become one with it, then that's where the spirit resides and it gives life. I say that in marriage. You start out maybe looking like a contract, if you will, Libby, but over time, and if you're willing to put the work in, and Rob and I like to say marriage is for grown folks. It ain't for no little babies. It's for grown folks. So if you ain't grown, baby, you need to keep on doing what you do. But over time, I'm like E in this instance. I'm a hopeless romantic. I love happy endings. I grew up on Harlequin romances. I mean, I just thought everybody. And so, but my models now, my parents did not set that for me. My parents had a very, I don't know, this show is not about parents, so I won't bring it up. But my parents had, they were together, they had longevity, but they did not have the depth of what I think a marriage should be. And so my thing is, we made a decision to go beyond what our parents modeled for us. We wanted something deeper, and we were willing to put in the work. And Libby, at the end of the day, sweetie, and I say this to any woman that's listening, any man, you do what works for you. And but as for me and my house, we loves it. LUZ. We loves being married. Yes. And I love, you know, that little crook in the bed, you know, that little bit in the bed that lets me know I have continuity. You know, I know who's right there. I know who I'm playing footsie with. I know who will cover me. I know who will pray over me. I know who got my back. I know who will give me the last dime, coin, quarter, nickel, penny, the last. I know who will take a
wing in the refrigerator.
Listen, I get the last chicken wing. Let's be clear. and I may not ever share, but I like love too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I am a hopeless romantic, and I love love, and I like relationships. But I think that when you do hear, and I think you make the perfect point, that marriage is for grown folks. And I think that when I get to that place where I find that person that I consider is the one that I want to journey with through life, and partner with through life, oh, sure, I'm not opposed to marriage. It's just my choice that I have not gotten married. And I don't bend to the pressure of what folk think I should do, because here again, most people that stand have been married forever. And so marriage is their thing. And they really have never been single as long as I have. So they don't understand how great it's been for me. And so I tell people all the time that, marriage can't heal you and singleness won't kill you. There is great stuff in both spaces.
Mm-hmm.
There is beauty in both. There is fun in both. There is joy in both, and there is love in both.
Yeah.
And so, but you have to be content within yourself in both, because there are lonely people in marriages.
Yeah.
There are unhappy
Ooh,
people.
that's a whole nother story show.
Yeah, and there are single people in marriage.
Yeah.
And so, we have to be careful with that. But there was a comment from one of our viewers that said, do you have the same opinion when someone is a widow? And I'm guessing that person is talking about when people meet folk and they're widows and they marry other folks,
That's another
husband or spouses. I'm guessing that's what that question is. You got to build out that question for us, because we don't know what that question is pertaining to. But if it is pertaining to that, I can tell you right now, these ladies said they would come back and hunt the husband, except for Joyce. Joyce said she wants her husband to be happy. I remember we had a podcast on this, and honey, it was hot. Go out there to SoundCloud, iTunes. Yes, go out there and play.
The first episode. We'll drop it in the chat for you.
Yes, go back to that. And I'm telling you, you would enjoy that episode altogether. But, I think love does come to those who are widows. I think they find love again, like people go into second marriages. And sometimes people have said it's been better the second time around. It's just that you have to, make sure you mesh with the right person. So that's my thing. But let me just say this about Porsha, child. She about to have a good little fun time in her short relationship.
That's it. It's not gonna last.
It ain't going nowhere, Joy.
But I was thinking about her 30 in 30 days. And for a moment I said, maybe she did finally find love, or maybe he finally found love. And I say that because I was one of those love at first sight, right? Mm-hmm. And if you all believe in that, I do, because it happened to me.
Sure.
And it's one of those things, it because your heart beats fast, and you just can't wait to see that person. You're just so excited. And I was like that when I met my husband. He was not my husband at that time. And Livia, you can meet somebody, may not necessarily know that will be your husband down the road, because I didn't at that time. I just knew when this man would come into the room, my heart would beat so fast. Or when I knew he was coming into the office that day, I'm going to make sure I'm running to the restroom, my lipstick on, I'm looking all cute. But it was all these things I was going through, because I think it was love at first sight for me. I just always loved him from the moment I met him. It was like that. And so I think for you, it may not be somebody you just meet, because you don't really even know. And as you are very spiritual, you all know God gonna send you the right man.
That's it.
That right person. And if it's not meant to be, it's not, because I'm with you on that. It's not for everybody. I still have friends my age, never been married. Mm-hmm. They're happy in their life, in their space, and what they're doing in life. I think to each his own, because it's not for everybody. It is work. So people think it's not. It is work. It's work, maintaining it, keeping everything together, keeping it fresh, keeping that balance. You all so busy and everything. A lot of sacrifices that goes into it. But yeah, I'm with you all. I love love too. And I think you gotta meet that right man at the right time. If it's to be,
and I agree.
The pilot, we won't forget the pilot.
Listen, I listen. But I totally agree. I think you're right. I think it will come in this right time with the right person. Like I said, I'm not opposed to it. I'm a very open person. I'm a very spiritual person. So I listen to the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
And I yield to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But I also know when it's not right. And so I'm not going to rush into it. I'm not going to, hey, let me tell you something. It ain't going to be a rush down. Because here, you got to remember, I've been single a long time. There's not much about me that's going to change at this level in my life.
Help her, Lord.
And there's not much about him that's going to change at this level in his life. So we're going to be two people that's going to come to the scene with all of these other things. That's going to be, we're not 20 years old. You see what I mean? Where we're growing together. We've already done a lot of things. So we have to be very intentional in the dating process. And I say that all women that are out there that's my age, close to 50, that you got to be very intentional. You got to be very upfront with what you want. You don't have a lot of time to sift through. So you really have to figure out how you're going to date. You need to put your stuff out on the table, your expectations, and receive their expectations, and be mature enough to know if you do not meet each other's expectation, don't waste each other's time. You don't have that kind of time.
But also, Libby, you have to leave room to be liquid. You can't.
I gotta stop you, Eve. I gotta stop. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you've been married a long time. In this single world, it's nothing like when you were single.
I do believe that. Trust and believe.
So
this gray area. You see that woman walking up in there, a thong, and this. I see that.
Let me tell you, you'll be around there.
Yes.
And you're gonna spend a year or 6 months on somebody that purporting not to be married and is married.
Yes.
It's a different world out here.
Yes.
So you have to, you can leave the room, but you got to be upfront, and you got to be mature enough to know if you don't mesh, you don't mesh. It's okay. Because let me tell you, that has happened to me. I've made that decision with a person, and the person ended up marrying a beautiful person. They have a beautiful marriage, and they fit. And he and I are still friends.
Mm-hmm.
We're friends because we were mature. We're not 20 years old. At that age, you're gonna try to, but let me see. And then you go through hurt after hurt, and you don't have to do that at this age. Okay. Everybody can decide where they are. And there are some people, and that's why I tell people all the time, I don't step in marriage and don't step in singleness. Because we are from two different worlds, and they just don't look the same. And when you were out dating, it was different than what it is now. We have to contend with a lot of different things. Yeah. We have to contend with men that will date us, and somewhere in the relationship, they can ask something like, "Well, have you ever been with a woman? Do you want to?"
Girl, part two, because we got to talk about that. We going to talk about
you gotta bring relationship back, because I'm keeping it real tonight.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, because everything is easy. It's easy. It's easy to get whatever it is you desire.
That's it.
Easy. And that's what makes the difficulty come in. Is like, if you don't give it to me, then I promise you I can find someone that I
ain't got to court you. That's it.
They got to, because of the, as people say, the shortage of.
Yeah.
But relationships and dating is a totally different thing now. I mean, I hear it through my nieces and nephews. I just hear them talk. Even my 25-year-old son, he talks about it like, "Mama, They just not like you anymore.
Oh, baby.
Well, guess what? There you have it right here at the Grown Folks Table. We're going to have a part 2 where we come back and talk about dating in this particular century versus back in the day when we was listening to Druid Hills, Let's Get Mad.
Guys, the green and fire, honey. Love
Right.
Yes. The barges. Come on with it.
Come on. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight at the Grown Folks Table. Please don't forget to subscribe to all of our podcast channels. I dropped a link in the chat. Go out there and listen to our episode about relationships. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.